Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Elizabeth here again, getting ready to do another video. Today we're going to be talking about Vitex Berry, which you'll know from the title of this video, but before I get into that, I just wanted to apologize. I have been trying to get a video of our garden for a while now, and for those of you who don't know, here in Arkansas, apparently there is such thing as storm season. They don't really get spring, they get storms. And we're actually in the middle of a 5-day storm right now. So I just, rather than putting it off, I just want to get in here and get something done. So that is coming in the near future. It's just not coming right now because storms. So if you hear thunder or see lightning, because the window is like right there, so you might see like the flash, I'm sorry, there's not a lot I can do about weather. It is what it is. So now let's talk about Vitex Berry. I have been taking a supplement for 2 months now called Conception. And there are other things in there other than Vitex Berry, but not a lot. Mayus, that's enough. Lay down. Lay down. Sorry. So there is other ingredients in that supplement other than Vitex Berry. There's a few other ones, and we can talk about that on another video. But we're going to be talking specifically about Vitex Berry and what it has done for me, because I know that that's the ingredient that is doing the most for me right now. Little disclaimer, I am going to be talking about menstrual cycles and periods. I'm going to be saying words that some people find very uncomfortable. So if you're going to find that uncomfortable, just sign off now. It's okay. You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings. I get it. But I am going to talk quite candidly about it. So if you don't like that, go ahead and go away. It's okay. So if you see me looking down a lot, I have my list of things I want to talk about here with you guys. So first, let's talk about what my period or my menstrual cycle was like before Vitex Berry. So 2 months ago, so 3 cycles ago, this was my normal. I was having anywhere from 50 to 64 day long cycles. Now, for those of you who don't know, I can't imagine that you wouldn't know this, but for those of you who don't know, the average cycle is actually 28 days long. So 50 to 64 days is a lot. And not only is that a lot, like double or more, it ranged so much, having 14 days, so 2 weeks difference continually. I never knew when my period was coming. I didn't have PMS symptoms. I just didn't. I never knew when it was coming. I knew anytime after 50 days or before 64 days, I would get a cycle. And that was so frustrating, and it's obviously not healthy. It's double the amount of time that it's supposed to be. And on top of that, when I started tracking, I found out that I was in my follicular phase, which is the first phase after you stop bleeding, after your period. I was in that phase for most of that time, if not all of it, which did wonders for my motivation and my ability to get out and do stuff, because my estrogen was so high all the time. But that also means that my luteal phase, which is the phase that you get pregnant in, right? It's the phase that you do implantation and it will eventually lead into pregnancy, was super short. It was nowhere near long enough. Not even close. And that is when, during that phase is when you kind of come down from that a little bit. You don't have as much motivation. It's a little bit harder for you to get up and do things. I wasn't in that very long, right? So I was like always motivated, always on, always moving and doing things. But my body wasn't functioning properly. It just wasn't. I was definitely in estrogen dominance. My cycles were too long. I had, my LH was not going up. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a luteinizing hormone. It just was a mess. And then my periods, my actual bleed time, was anywhere from 7 to 14 days. That was terrible. Anybody who has ever had a period ever will tell you that it's pretty terrible in the time that it normally is. So when it's like 14 days long, it's horrible. There is nothing like it. It is just terrible. And I was hating everything about my cycle. I wasn't enjoying it. There was no reason for it. I wasn't following a moon cycle. It felt like nothing was happening, right? You hear all of these people talk about how during their cycle they were dealing with this symptom or this symptom, and they were having this happen, and they have all of these symptoms. I didn't have any of that. I had nothing, right? Like, it felt like nothing was happening, and then all of a sudden I had a period, and then nothing was happening again. And the only kind of indication that I had was that I was gaining weight like so quickly, no matter what I was doing. There was a time that I was eating like 1,000 calories tops, and I was still gaining weight, not losing it. And that was pretty much my only real indicator, is how long my cycle was, how long my period was, and how fast I was gaining weight. That was it. That's all I had. And anybody who's been in that situation will tell you that it's really terrible, because you don't have any clues. And you go to the doctor and you're like, this is happening. And they're like, why are you complaining about that, right? Like, I was getting doctors just looking at me like, what is wrong with you? Why are you complaining about this? Most women would love this. Get over it. And then they would take my blood and be like, oh yeah, everything looks great. Go home. So I found out I did not have PCOS. I did not have whatever that other one that they were thinking I had. I can't even remember the name of it. I didn't have any of those things, but nothing was happening. Like, it was so frustrating and so hard, because I was just sitting there like trying to figure out what was going on with me and not being able to. And then I started charting, and charting really helped. Charting is the number one thing you do for charting, is taking your temperature every single day. And it'll be at different places because of different hormones in your system at different times. And so when I started doing that, and I got into research about that and about what that meant, that was really how I figured out everything was happening. So now, fast forward, I start taking this Vitex Berry. Vitex Berry has been used for thousands of years. It's an herb, or an herbal supplement, that has been used for, like I said, thousands of years, for women in general, to deal with estrogen problems, to deal with progesterone problems, to deal with PMS or acne or infertility or any of it. I mean, like, it's been used as a general supplement for women forever. It just helps balance everything out and come back to like even keel. Okay. It works for some women. It doesn't work for others. It is working so well for me. So I started taking Vitex Berry directly after my period, 2 cycles ago. 3. So on my 3 cycles ago, I've had 2 periods since I've been on this. Okay. I started taking it, and I did not think it was going to work quickly at all. I thought that it was going to be a lot of months that I was going to be on, and with Vitex Berry, you're supposed to stay on for 3 months and then go off of it for at least 1 month, if not 2 or 3, and then go back onto it to help, again, continually fix your hormones. I thought I was going to have to do a couple of rounds of it before anything was going to happen. But I got on it. I started taking it the day that I got off my period. My bleed stopped. I started taking it. And then that cycle, I ovulated on day 16. No, it was day 16 I ovulated, according to my charts. Which was very abnormal for me because I usually ovulate on day like 45. So I was like, okay, all right. So I ovulated on that day, and then I had my period. I'm looking at my numbers here. On day 30. On day 30. Like, are you kidding me? I was so excited. I don't think I have ever been more excited to start a period in my whole life. Like, I was over the moon excited. And of course the air conditioner comes on. But I was over the moon excited about getting my period because it's on day 30. That's only 2 more days in my cycle than the average period, and it's a healthy amount of days. Like, if that was what my cycle was for the rest of my life, it's okay, right? That's okay. It's not a bad thing. We're no longer like in a danger zone, right? So my follicular phase was significantly shorter, and my luteal phase, which is the last phase, was longer. Still not long enough. It wasn't long enough. You should be ovulating on like day 13, 14, 15 in there, preferably like on day 13 or 14. It wasn't long enough, but it was longer, and then my period was only 7 days long, and it stopped. It was done. We were done. There was nothing else, and I was so excited, guys. I have never been more excited for a bleed time in my whole life. Like, I was over the freaking moon. Then on my next period, it was exactly the same. Except for I ovulated 1 day earlier. So things are actually like doing what they're supposed to do. My cycle was 30 days. I had a period for 6 days, not 7. My follicular phase was getting shorter. My luteal phase was getting longer. Everything is great. Guys, like, you have no idea how excited this makes me. Like, and on top of that, I've lost 30 pounds in 40 days. 50 days, something like that, which is really fast, but it lets me know that something is right? Like, something is happening correctly, and I'm really, really, really excited. So this is what Vitex Berry did for me. This is what this supplement did for me. That doesn't mean it's what it's gonna do for you. Everyone is so different. Everyone is. Like, it can work like this for you. It totally could. It might not. You never know. But for me, it did. It worked, and it was so beautiful. I don't think I've ever been so excited for my cycle, or learning about my cycle, or charting in my whole life. Like, I have been over the moon about this. And I'm excited. I'm so excited that in just 2 months, this much has changed. and I am that much healthier, and I am feeling so much better, and I actually can tell where my hormones are at what time. They're not just estrogen all the time. And it's so good. It's so good. So for those of you who don't know, Vitex Berry or Chaseberry, I'm going to kind of lift this up here because I'm going to read a list to you. It has been used for PMS, acne, fibrocystic breasts, which is where you get like pockets, like cysts in your boobs, basically. It's a little more complicated than that. It's non-cancerous lumps, okay? It's been used to treat infertility, heavy periods, menopause, migraines, etc., etc., etc. Guys, I'm a believer. I was not a believer before taking this, but I am a believer now. And that's where I'm going to end this video. So if you liked today's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Write down in the comments below if you think you would benefit from this, or what you're doing in your trying to conceive journey, or just your journey to balance hormones. Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time, guys.